Hey, I am Amelia and I'm 27 years old. I'm a housewife and my husband passed away about 3 months ago. Dealing with the grief and mourning was not easy for me. Well, for starters, just 2 weeks before Mark died, I found out he was having an affair. I met Mark at a job interview, but we were not for the same position since he was more experienced than me. Yes, there was quite a bit of an age gap of 7 years, but he came on to me and he had a way with words. He had always been charming. At only 22 years old, I was admittedly naive and he completely swayed me. We could not get enough of each other when we first started dating. We dated for 3 long years before we finally got married. I just started living the life of a stay-at-home suburban wife. I focused on managing our home and supporting Mark's career. After we got married, Mark decided to buy a house, and so we did. When Mark came home from the office, we would often spend time together. Sometimes we enjoyed a glass of wine while playing crossword puzzles together, and other times we simply sat in the comfort of each other's presence. It was a picture-perfect relationship. Finding out about Mark's affair was not easy for me. I did not have a clue how long it had been going on, and there was no obvious signs at all. He acted just like he always did, all attentive and loving. We were even trying for a baby, and I thought everything was real. But I guess people can be good at hiding things. I do not know how long the affair has been going on. I just read some text between Mark and his girlfriend while he was in the shower. I do not usually go through Mark's phone, but his phone was continuously pinging, so I picked it up to check. It was Chloe from the office. We had met at several dinner parties. She is quite young too, and yes, I hate to admit it, but Mark certainly had a type. I went through the latest texts she sent. "When am I going to see you again? It has been a week. I could not resist myself when you brushed past me at the office today. I miss you. It's so annoying." I was in denial. I could not believe what I was seeing. I scrolled through their old messages.
"I need some space from Amelia."
"Why don't you just leave her? We've been through this several times, baby."
"You know I cannot, not right now at least."
"You're not even in love with her anymore."
"We are not having this conversation right now."
"Well, you know what we can do? We can take a little detour from that San Francisco office trip we're taking, baby."
"You would not believe half the things I'm already seeing in my head."
So there I was, done with reading the texts. The guy I thought I knew inside out, the one I was head over heels for, turned out to be a total backstabber. Wrap your head around this. Mark, the guy I married and trusted, went and had this stupid affair. It's like our flawless life was all smoke and mirrors, shattered by his dumb decisions. My feelings were all over the place. Confronting Mark was scary. Who knew where that would lead? I was scared he'd bail on me, and honestly, I still cared for him more than I was mad. So I kept it to myself. Picture this. Rain pouring down, and there's Mark, totally late. Naturally, my mind went into overdrive. Was he hanging out with Chloe again? I was sick of the guessing games. I just wanted a break from the whole mess, but nope. Life had other ideas. Out of nowhere, a call from the cops left me stunned. The words were unreal. I raced to the police station, and there it was. They wanted me to ID Mark's lifeless body. His car was a wreck from some accident. I was a mess. His parents arrived the next day, accompanied by his brother. Together we made arrangements for the funeral. I decided to let Mark's secret die with him. I did not want people to remember him for the mistake he made, so I kept silent, even though the pain ate at me from inside. A week later, the funeral took place. I was surrounded by our family and friends, and we gathered to say our final goodbyes to Mark. During the service, I was expected to say a few words about Mark. I froze and couldn't speak. It was Mark's brother Jake's turn next. So while Jake was giving his eulogy, my attention got snagged by a blonde chick wearing a short black dress. Something about her seemed oddly familiar, but I couldn't quite put my finger on it, so I squinted a bit, and then I realized it was Chloe, Mark's mistress. With a dress like that, she certainly was playing the part. The audacity of that woman made me choose not to make a scene. After the speech, I went up to her. "Hey there, Chloe, right?" "Oh, hello, Amelia. I'm so sorry we have to meet like this." "Yeah, it's a tragedy. How are you doing?" I don't know how I feel right now. Well, maybe this makes you feel better. Mark was a great boss. He was a beautiful person inside and out. He loved you a lot, trust me. I am sorry for your loss. Her words hit like a punch in the gut. The way she acted all innocent, putting on this condolence show while she knew exactly what she'd done. It was like a slap in the face. How could someone be that cold? How could she stand there pretending to be some caring acquaintance while she'd been tearing apart my marriage from behind the scenes? Thank you for being here. And then I got away from her. I couldn't stand the sight of her. We went to the funeral reception, which was at our house. I was exhausted from attending to the guests and mingling during the funeral. I wanted a moment for myself, so I decided to go to Mark's study upstairs. However, as I opened the door, I was taken aback to find Chloe rummaging through the desk's drawer. What are you doing here? Some documents were with Mark and they have not turned up at the office, so I figured they might be here. You could have talked to me, you know. I figured you'd have your hands full. And how did you even find out where Mark's study was? I looked around the house. That's not appropriate, Chloe. I get it, but I didn't find what I needed there anyway. The documents must just be at the office. Anyway, I'm in a rush. She dashed out of the room in a hurry and I trailed behind, my mind buzzing with suspicion. The funeral had wrapped up. Even Jake and Mark's votes had split. Now the house was eerily quiet and damn, I was feeling Mark's absence. Late into the night, sleep was nowhere to be found. I ended up in Mark's study, the place he practically lived in. I just wanted to somehow feel close to him. Plopped into his chair, my eyes locked on an open drawer in his desk. It was like Chloe had a field day there, leaving a chaotic mess behind. Now, I wasn't about to blindly trust Chloe, so I decided to do some snooping. I went through that drawer like a detective on a mission, and there it was! My suspicions confirmed. Mark's credit card was missing from his wallet. I fought to keep calm and level-headed, not wanting to leap to conclusions or finger-point without hard facts. Sure, she might be a relationship wreck, but I wasn't about to start slinging blame without solid proof. So I played Sherlock Holmes, scanning the entire office and even Mark's closet, hoping I missed something, but no dice. The credit card had pulled a vanishing act. Chloe had her sticky fingers all over it. I hit a point where I was utterly adrift and helpless. The weight of Mark's affair, his sudden death, and Chloe's shady card swipe, it was all just too much. I needed to open up to someone trustworthy. That's when I turned to Lisa, a tight friend of mine. She'd been at the funeral too. The funny thing is, even though I met her through Mark, we clicked like crazy. Lisa was more than a buddy. She was a seasoned private investigator and a tad older than me. Smart as a whip, too. So when I let it all out, she had my back in a major way. And here's where it gets interesting. Lisa cooked up a genius plan. She suggested I pen a thank you note to Chloe. The whole game plan was to trick Chloe into thinking she was in the clear and that no one was onto her, especially after our awkward encounter in the study. So I got to write that thank you note. Dear Chloe, thank you for being at Mark's funeral. It meant a lot to see you there, supporting me during such a difficult time. Mark would have appreciated your presence as well. I wish you all the best. With warm regards, Amelia. I made sure the note was sent to her with some flowers. I went to the office to personally give it to her. She was caught off guard, but she played it cool and thanked me for it. She even suggested that we should go out for coffee someday. She had no idea what karma had in store for her. It was finally time to go all in and take Chloe down. Lisa and I were ready to go into full detective mode. For like 3 months straight, we hustled hard, gathering all the juicy details we needed to expose her. We started peeling back the layers of Chloe's shady past. So, Lisa and I started hitting up Chloe's old crew, her acquaintances, colleagues, and friends. We needed the tea, and we needed it discreetly. One day we met up with Olive, who went way back with Chloe from college. Hey there, I'm Lisa McCoy, a private investigator, and this is my client Amelia. Oh, hi! I haven't been in touch with Chloe for quite a while, but I'm more than willing to give you whatever information I can. Great! We've come across some signs of past fraud in her history. Actually, what was Chloe like back in college? Well, even though Chloe didn't have a steady job, she was living the high life, you know? She was the party queen, always with those fancy drinks in hand, and when it came to spending, It was like money was water for her, buying expensive gifts like it was nothing. How exactly did she manage to afford that kind of lifestyle without a stable job? Honestly, I never really knew. She was always hanging out with some pretty well-off folks, but I could never put my finger on where her money was coming from. Did she ever talk about any financial troubles or sketchy activities during that time? Not that I remember. She was more into showing off her designer clothes and hitting the hottest spots in town. I mean, we all wondered, but she played it off like she had some secret hustle. After speaking with another one of Chloe's colleagues, Lisa gave me a call to share the new information.
Hey, Amelia, you won't believe what I just found.
Spill it, Lisa. What's the latest scoop?
I managed to track down another one of Chloe's colleagues, and let me tell you, it's insane.
Don't keep me hanging. What did they say?
Well, this colleague told me about Chloe's time at a previous job.
Apparently, there were some rumblings about missing funds from the company's account.
Seriously?
Money's disappearing and Chloe is just happening to be around?
Bingo. And while it wasn't solid proof, the suspicion spotlight was all over her.
It seems like Chloe's got a talent for stirring up drama wherever she goes. Drama magnet, that's for sure. These accounts from former acquaintances and colleagues paint a troubling picture of Chloe's past. Lisa and I were building a case, and it was all coming together. We had these accounts from people who knew Chloe, and they were all raising some major red flags. Sure, we could not slap a criminal label on her just yet, but there was definitely a pattern to her behaviour. While there may not have been a concrete evidence of criminal activities, there was a consistent pattern of questionable behaviour. As Lisa and I continued our investigation into Chloe's criminal activities, we came across a lead that would take us down the road where we needed to go. During one of our interviews with a former colleague of Chloe's, we discovered a name that kept surfacing in their conversation. Mr. Duncan. According to the colleague, Mr. Duncan had been a respected and successful businessman who had suddenly fallen into financial ruin. He was known for his philanthropic endeavours and had helped numerous charitable organisations over the years. However, in recent times, he had become reclusive and had disappeared from the public eye. Lisa and I decided to look deeper into Mr. Duncan's financial history. As a private investigator, Lisa had access to various databases and resources that allowed us to track down information on him. Our investigation revealed a startling truth. Mr. Duncan had indeed been a victim of Chloe's fraudulent schemes. She had systematically embezzled funds from his account, leaving him in financial ruin and tarnishing his reputation. And just like that, we got what we needed to take Chloe down. I could not believe the audacity of this woman, parading around as if she had done nothing wrong. I knew we had hit the final straw. It was time for the final takedown, but before Lisa and I went to the police to tell them about Chloe, I had so much anger filled inside of me that I never got a chance to confront Mark about the affair. I never got a chance to confront Mark, and I had so many questions that needed to be answered. I wanted to know some things and say some things. Chloe became the target of my pent-up emotions. After enduring sleepless nights for 3 months and tirelessly tracking Chloe's history and friends on Facebook, I had bottled up so much inside me. I felt the need to face Chloe myself. I dropped by the office in the evening. I finally decided to take her up on that coffee date she suggested. Chloe was very surprised to see me. I asked her if she wanted to get a cup of coffee with me. She needed a bit of convincing, but she said yes. We took a seat and ordered 2 cappuccinos. As we sipped our cappuccinos, I could feel the tension rising. It was the calm before the storm, and I was ready to unleash all the feelings I had bottled up. She thought she could play games, but not with me. I had my chance, and I wasn't going to waste it. It was time to confront her about everything, spill all the tea, and let her know she couldn't mess with me and get away with it. So, Amelia, how have you been holding up? Chloe, tell me when it started. I need to know the truth. I don't know what you're talking about, Amelia.
Yes, you do. Do not play dumb with me. I've seen the messages between you and Mark.
What messages?
Just talk.
Look, Amelia, I never meant for any of this to happen.
What do you mean you never meant for it to happen? You knew he was married.
I know, I'm sorry. It's just that things got complicated and we couldn't help how we felt about each other. It's not all black and white.
Unexpectedly? That is your excuse? You knew he was married. Chloe!
Your apologies mean nothing now. You're not as innocent as you pretend to be. I know everything about you. What do you mean? Let us start from the beginning, shall we? You conveniently showed up at Mark's funeral. Do not tell me it was about sympathy. I knew you had ulterior motives. I just wanted to pay my respects. You've been at our house, haven't you? I bet Mark brought you here when I was not around. You must have known your way around the house. Perhaps it is known where Mark keeps his things. At the reception, you were snooping around Mark's study. What were you doing? Finding some documents? My foot, you were stealing his credit card! How can you accuse me of stealing Mark's credit card? I thought you were glad I was there to support you during such a difficult time, because I made you think so, but I knew all along what you had done. You're just a bored housewife weaving all these stories in your head. None of it is true. You know what, Amelia? You are just delusional and paranoid. No wonder he was always tired from having to deal with a wife like you. How dare you say that? You have no idea what our marriage was like. Amelia, I can see you're upset, but you're letting your imagination run wild. Imagination? I wish it were just that, but it's all too real, Chloe. Oh, please. I know more about your marriage than you think. Mark was unhappy with you, and he found comfort in my arms. And you wanted to know how long we were together for? Well, 4 months, as far as I remember. Well, then you truly deserve what is coming for you. Mark is dead, and you are a screw-up. Do you want to wreck my life too? Yes, and I've reached out to the cops about the whole credit card mess, Chloe. They are on the case, and trust me, I'm dead set on laying your schemes bare. Oh, come on, what proof do you have? It is just your word against mine. Chloe, do not doubt what can happen. You figured you'd slide through, but guess what? I've done my homework and I know all about you. You can't just make things up. Chloe, I'm not making this up. You thought you could run this game without consequences, but you're about to get a taste of reality. The waitress got to our table to collect the bill. I slammed a $20 bill on the table and left. A few days later, I received the news from Lisa that after she reported Chloe to the police, they finally caught up with her and that she had been arrested for her crimes. The weight of relief washed over me, knowing that justice was finally being served. The court case that followed was both nerve-wracking and cathartic for me. I had to be there because she stole Mark's credit card. Seeing Chloe face the consequences of her actions was very satisfying, and it gave me a sense of closure that I could not find elsewhere. I still regret not confronting Mark while he was there. I miss him, and do not miss him at the same time. As for me, I live alone in our house now, and I thought it was about time I kick-started my career again. I've not told any of my friends or Mark's family about this because the case was very ugly and Mark is now gone. I do not want the people who loved him to remember him for something bad he did. Closure is different for everyone, and for me, it is not about peace. It's about getting that sweet revenge I felt she deserved. Revenge is a dish best served cold, and let me tell you, Chloe has a freezer full of it. That girl messed with the wrong person, and now she is paying the price.